Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, let's dive right in, literally, to a deep ocean mystery. We are talking about a fascinating case where scientists can hear this clear, super distinct voice calling out from the depths, but they cannot physically find the creature making it.
Now, for years, this really mysterious call has traveled through the Earth's largest oceans. And it sounds like a whale, but actually, scratch that. It doesn't match any whale known to science. It leaves us with this one massive, burning question. After all these years, who or what is actually creating the sound?
And this anomaly didn't just baffle the scientists. It completely captivated the world, eventually earning this incredibly emotional nickname, the loneliest whale on Earth. So today, we're unpacking the ghost story behind that famous quote, and we'll look at the actual data that started the whole shebang.
So, let's set the stage here. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, something has been calling out for decades. Scientists can hear the signal, they can track its movement, they can even study its pattern. But, crazy enough, they have never been able to find the actual creature making the sound in those vast pitch-black waters.
Part 1. The Signal from the Darkness. Interestingly enough, the researchers who first discovered this voice way back in 1989, well, they weren't originally looking for whales at all.
Nope, they were listening for something entirely different. During the Cold War, the U.S. Navy built this huge underwater listening network called SOSUS. That stands for the Sound Surveillance System. Essentially, hidden microphones were scattered all across the ocean floor, specifically designed to hunt for Soviet submarines in the deep ocean. For years, military operators literally just sat in these listening stations monitoring for threats. But as the Cold War ended, scientists finally gained access to this network. So, almost overnight, this incredibly tense system, built for war, became a massive game-changer for exploring the ocean. And then, in 1989, it picked up a very, very strange signal. The operators were absolutely shocked. Why? Because this wasn't a submarine. It wasn't a machine. It was clearly something alive. The signal had all the classic hallmarks of a whale call. It repeated, it followed distinct patterns, and it moved through the water exactly like a massive marine animal would. Which brings us to part 2, a whale made of sound. This discovery created a really fascinating problem for the researchers. They had a voice, sure, but absolutely no physical whale to match it to. And here is exactly why it was such a puzzle. Most known large whales, think blue and fin whales, communicate using extremely deep, low frequencies. We're talking rumbles that create an underwater pressure you can literally almost feel. But this anomaly, it had an unusually high frequency. It was totally unmatched by any known species of that massive size. Specifically, it called at 52 Hertz. To put that into perspective, this unexpectedly high pitch separated it completely from every other known whale call on record. It was so incredibly distinct, in fact, that researchers literally just named the creature after this exact frequency, the 52 Hertz whale. Enter William Watkins from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. He was an early pioneer in whale bioacoustics, and he took an immediate interest in this. He recognized right away that this wasn't just random ocean noise or some human-made object. No, it was a distinct biological voice, a single whale producing a consistent call somewhere between 50 and 52 Hertz.
Part 3. Tracking a ghost. So, you might be wondering, how exactly do you track a sound across millions of square miles of completely unexplored water without ever actually seeing the animal?
Well, the method was surprisingly simple, honestly. Sound travels incredible distances underwater. When the whale called, the sound would hit one sensor first, right? Then it would hit another sensor maybe a fraction of a second later. By comparing those tiny timing delays, researchers could actually triangulate the origin and map the whale's movements. It's kind of like a giant acoustic puzzle. Using this triangulation method, Watkins and his team relentlessly pursued the signal for a massive 12-year stretch, from 1992 all the way to 2004. They tracked it all across the North Pacific. Sometimes it was hanging out near California, other times moving way north toward Alaska. Season after season, year after year, this thing traveled thousands of miles.
But no matter where it traveled, it remained just a sound moving without a confirmed source. Despite tracking it perfectly on their instruments, they were following a signal, not a visible animal. It was, for all intents and purposes, a literal ghost moving through the Pacific Ocean.
Part 4. The Loneliest Voice. And guys, this is where the emotional weight of this discovery really hits you. See, normal whale populations have overlapping movement patterns, right? Their calls connect, they reply to each other, they communicate. But the 52 Hertz whale,
Its signal appears entirely alone in the acoustic data. Zero confirmed connections to other whales. It simply did not seem to belong to any of the whale songs around it.
One unusual voice, one unexplained call. Just take a second and think about that. You've got one solitary creature navigating a massive, massive ocean full of other whales, but seemingly never connecting with any of them.
Eventually, the broader world noticed this incredibly isolated acoustic data. The media gave it a nickname that completely captured people's imaginations, delivering this huge emotional gut punch based entirely on a scientific anomaly. They called it the loneliest whale in the world.
Which really just leaves us with one lingering question. Will we ever find the face behind the voice? After decades of tracking a solitary sound through the vast, dark Pacific, the deepest mystery still remains. Will the ocean ever reveal the true identity of the 52 Hertz whale?